Instagram Live? Instagram Live? Instagram Live? Sure. Hey, is this somebody can do Instagram Live? Is this somebody can do Instagram Live? Instagram Live? On my phone? Don't worry about it.
It's going live, parents.
On Facebook though, right?
Yeah, Facebook and Twitter.
All right, let me get it. Let me get on Instagram. iPhone unavailable. Don't worry about it. We gotta go. My iPhone unavailable. I don't know why though. All right.
Well, I mean, on that side, the tighter, because you were on the opposite side.
Okay.
All right. 18. Good afternoon. My name is Nene Teller. I'm the executive director of Harriet's Wildest Dreams, an abolitionist black organization here in Washington, D.C. that's actually here to support and protect all black lives that's involved with state-sanctioned violence and the different isms that affect black people. Unfortunately, we are gathered here once again in the name of police brutality. And time again, we got to keep showing up for the same thing. And it comes to time that we say enough is enough. Enough is enough. And in the name of, I shouldn't have to get another call from a family asking for support and to get justice for another family here in D.C. And with that being said, we know that what happened to Justin Robinson on that night, that morning, that in that early morning hours, was undeservable, unjust, senseless, and we need the city to hold all parties involved accountable. If we continue the cycle of allowing killer cops to stay on our streets, when would it ever stop? Let me say it again. If we continue the cycle of allowing killer cops to stay on our streets, when would it ever stop? So I'm gonna move to the side and bring up Brandon Burrell, one of the first attorneys that came to the aid of this family to seek justice for the Robinson family. And then you all will hear from the other attorneys in the Robinson family. Thank you.
Thank you, Nene Taylor with Harriet's Wildest Dreams. You know, Harriet's Wildest Dreams has been there in the community fighting for people for a long time now. I've worked with them before on different cases, and I'm glad for them to be out here fighting again for someone that tragically lost their life at the hands of the Metropolitan Police Department. Justin Robinson was murdered on September 1st by MPD. It was a senseless death. The MPD model of de-escalation, it emphasizes not only de-escalation, reasonableness, and proportionality. And nothing that happened to Mr. Robinson was reasonable. The officers never attempted to de-escalate the situation, and it was not proportional. It is not consistent with MPD policy or any reasonable use of force policy to stick a firearm next to a subject that they're interacting with, right next to his face, startling him. They knew that he was unconscious at the time. They put the gun into his face. He wakes up and tries to reasonably move the firearm away from his face. They put 10 bullets into Mr. Robinson. That is not proportional. That is not reasonable. I am happy to be working with District Legal Group on this case, an excellent firm of attorneys, because we want to make sure that the family of Justin Robinson gets the justice here that they deserve and that Mr. Robinson deserves. So I'm going to let Mr. Clark from District Legal Group come up and address you.
Thank you, Brandon, and thank you all for being here today. When I get these calls, it's never easy. And every case is different because every life is different. Rolling down the windows in Southeast DC at nighttime should not be a death sentence. When I saw this video, I played it forwards and backwards and forwards. And one of the things that stuck out to me was as Justin was rolling down his window, that police officer stuck a gun inches from his face. And I couldn't believe it. And I couldn't believe it because at the time, Justin was wearing a Cure the Streets jacket. This is one of their own. This is somebody that is trying to stop the violence. Justice for Justin. Justice for Justin.
Justice for Justin.
Justice for Justin.
Justice for Justin.
Is sticking a gun inside of a vehicle protocol, MPD. Now we are calling for the Department of Justice to open a civil rights investigation into the officer, and we're not stopping there. We're also calling for the Department of Justice to open an investigation into the entire Metropolitan Police Department. Because this has to stop. There is no way that this is protocol, and if it is, it's a problem. And we will not rest until our demands are met. We will not rest until our demands are met. We will not rest until our demands are met. Thank you.
Good afternoon. So one of the most disturbing facts in this case is that Justin was a victim on September the 1st of everything he stands to prevent for his community, for his neighborhood, and for the District of Columbia. The Office of Attorney General, which is one of the highest, most prominent law enforcement agencies in the district, they saw his worth. They saw his value. They saw that he was a pillar and his story, a true story and inspiration for rehabilitation and reform. However, the police officers that night did not. Cure the Streets. Justin worked for Cure the Streets as a violence interrupter. And part of those duties include they employed local credible individuals with deep ties to the community to work on gun reduction crimes. Justin de-escalated conflicts in an attempt to resolve them through mediation and avert potentially fatal shootings. Mediation, something the police officers could have learned more about that day, right? Or should have tried that day. Because I guarantee you one thing, and we are not gonna sit here and play this game like they would not have. This was a young man with blonde hair and a much lighter skin hue in a McDonald's drive-thru in Georgetown with a Georgetown hoodie on and a Prius and Virginia license plates. They would have mediated. They would have mediated. They may have been still sitting there right now, mediating, because they would have not executed him the same way they executed Justin. So what we know is, so I'm trying not to get emotional, this is about my 5th case of this sort in the district with their police officers. So what we know is that though the badge numbers may not be the same, sometimes the uniforms may not be the same depending on the municipality or the jurisdiction. However, the outcomes remain the same. The tactics remain the same. the racially motivated, unjust killings of our young black men and being treated differently than people who don't look like us in different areas remain the same. And our lives remain at risk. Justice for Justin.
Justice for Justin.
At this time, I'm going to call up Justin's sister, Teresa.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tralisha. I'm Justin's sister. Many of you may have seen me by now, but I'll just tell a quick story so that you guys can have a memory of him. I used to take them to school when they were younger, Justin and Joseph. And one time I used to take them to school and pick them up. And one time I was late picking him up, and they rode the train by themselves. And when they rode the train, they missed their stop because they fell asleep. And we were looking for them. They finally came back to the stop. And I remember them saying they were in Paris, but they were actually at a train station in Virginia. We all laughed about them stating that they were in Paris, and Justin, he started to cry, and he said, we were in Paris. And I give you guys that to say that Justin always had an outlook on life that he wanted more, and he was very passionate. And so now as I stand here and I talk about Justin, and I have to do this press conference for him, and speak for my family, and speak for his twin brother. Unfortunately, Justin will never go to Paris. He never made it to Paris. That's something that he will never do, and that he never got the opportunity to do. So when Justin's life was taken away, so many opportunities were taken away. So many hearts are broken. Our stomachs are turning. I have to console his twin brother. And the call that his twin brother made to me is stuck in my head, of him saying they killed Justin. So when you think about Justin, think about how optimistic he was, and how thoughtful he was, and how he never got to go to Paris. So justice for Justin.
Justice for Justin. This is Miss Robinson, Justin's mother.
Justin Robinson, he was my baby. He was the youngest of my kids. He had the most beautiful smile. He would light up a room. If you were having a bad day, he would come in and make you feel better. He would give you hugs. He would give you kisses. That's how people determine him for his twin. They would say that whenever he hugged, he gave you kisses on the forehead, or he gave you a kiss on the cheek. That's how a lot of people could tell the difference in them. This is hard for us. Trying to be strong for his twin brother and his siblings. But he was a beacon of light. And he will truly be missed. He loved the kids. He absolutely loved the kids. He loved helping people. He got that honestly from his mom. I would let all their friends in my house, the whole neighborhood can come to my house and hang out. Their moms could always call my house and find their children, because they knew their kids were safe. There were children who weren't allowed to spend the night over other people's homes, but they were always allowed into my home. They knew that my house was a safe haven. And Justin just wanted to recreate that, a safe haven for people and for children. And we're going to miss him. We're going to miss him. Say his name. Justin Robinson. Justice for Justin.
Justice for Justin.
No Justin, no peace.
No Justin, no peace.
Thank you.
And that concludes the family members that will be speaking today. So we will open up the panel for questions, or the floor for questions.
Yes. I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Can you just speak a little bit louder? I'm sorry. Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, we want accountability for everyone involved. Yes.
What does accountability look like? There were several demands laid out. What, if there's one thing that can be done in the next month, what are you hoping to see accomplished first?
We're looking for a thorough investigation. We're looking for a grand jury to convene. The people should be the ones to decide whether or not this officer is charged, not someone sitting behind a desk in an office. And we're asking for this office to conduct a thorough investigation, not only into this officer, but also these officers, but also into MPD as a whole for their police tactics. So her question is, what did Justin want to get involved with violence?
So this has been Justin's dream, to be involved in nonprofit and to help the community since he's been small. They've had mentors, they've had different things since they were about 3 years old. People have taken to them since they were little because not many people have seen identical twins. So this has been something that's been in him since he's been a little kid, since he's been about 3 years old.
You can just keep your voice up, because for some reason all we hear is behind you. Sorry.
In regards to the reaction to the video that was released by him, we understand the family at first didn't want the video to go out publicly, but then once it was, it did create a very strong community reaction. Protests took place last week. Some folks were arrested in those protests. That the community reaction that we saw from the release of the video, did that play a role in your decision to make the public aware of what happened?
So we always knew that we were going to make the video public, but we wanted to see the video first and make sure that they would release the entire video, because we were told that the video would be redacted. And so we wanted the entire video to be shown. And so once we reviewed the video, then we decided to say, hey, go ahead and release the video so that the public may see the entire video.
Just a quick follow-up, do you have any thoughts on the community reaction to the release of the video, folks coming out protesting what happened?
So basically, I've seen these videos time and time again sitting with the families, and I watched the video, and I know how the city does these videos because I've watched them time and time again for Jeffrey Price, Delano Martin, give me more, like so many, Lazarus Wilson. So when I saw that video, and they told us they was gonna redo a reenactment of the video, I knew that they would put the video that could actually make the police officer look more like he's innocent for putting 10 bullets in Justin. And with that being said, we saw 19 minutes and 18 minutes videos. I knew they was not going to really show that the whole 18, 19 minutes video. Even with the video y'all saw, that's not the video we saw. They gave y'all the ending. We saw a beginning for the lady in the restaurant saying he's been here for 30 minutes and they just plotting. You all didn't get to see all that. And I knew they would not show that. And so we knew that we were doing a visual. And I said, let's tell your story, because what we got to do, we got to make the narrative. Because if we don't make the narrative, they're going to tell their narrative. And unfortunately, the media is going to go with law enforcement narrative. So that was the reason. It was not once were we not going to release the video, but it's best y'all chase the truth and not what they was going to show you all.
All right. Yeah, you know, I've been up here way too many times just in the past 2 years with very similar circumstances, whether it be someone in a vehicle, whether it be police showing up on scene. And one of the things that I see consistently is the disregard for human life because someone is either in a certain neighborhood, it's a certain time of night, and that's the pattern and practice that we're seeing in Southeast DC specifically. And something needs to change because we don't see this happening in Northwest. We don't see it happening in Northeast. It's only in Southeast where most of the population is black.
You mentioned Delano Martin in that case. You all were here a couple of months ago asking for the DOJ to intervene in that instance. Are you hopeful, speaking out about these instances, that the DOJ will do something with these cases? What gives you the strength to keep forward and coming together and speak out about these instances?
We are hopeful that DOJ is going to see this, and thank you guys for coming out here and covering this important story. And once they come and they see the video, if they haven't already, that it would be very clear to them that an investigation needs to happen. We've filed so much paperwork with that office over the past couple of years that they've got to say, you know, this is clearly a pattern, right? When things are happening, and so similarly, right? Things are happening. It's not just this is a once-off. This is a blip. This is something that is consistently happening in Southeast DC. So I'm happy that y'all are covering this story. I'm happy that my colleagues are able to give me the strength. I'm happy that Harry's Wildest Dreams is able to give the entire community the strength to continue to fight this.
Well, and with that being said, given the reaction that we've seen yesterday from folks in Southeast, do you think that this, what happened with Mr. Robinson, is, people are just kind of at their wits' end, like this is the final straw, they're impatient to see something happen now?
Yeah. So right now, as a respected organizer here in DC, it's my duty to keep people safe. And right now, what I don't want to do is get my community members out of cages when I'm trying to fight for justice. Because let's be very clear. If one of my community members would have emptied 10 bullets into a person in one of my community members' back in front, they'll be in a cage. I'm an abolitionist organization, but the family want these cops prosecuted to the fullest extent. And if this was a community member that's put 10 bullets in another community member, they would be in the cage. They would be guilty until proven innocent. So it's past time for them to stop giving policemen vacation time, just like they're doing right now with Terrence Sutton. Sitting at home on tax dollars, waiting when he's fired now. But you get to sit at home and appeal. My community member can't do that. Enough is enough. And until they hold them accountable, we're going to continue having killer cops. Just last night, 2 more community members in New York City was killed. These killer cops have to be stopped. This immunity has to stop, and it needs to start today.
And I do want to make sure I make a note of as well that we are not forgetting the type of work that Justin Robinson did. So I think with the community it came to the conclusion of is that if someone who's doing the work for the Attorney General's office and for us and for our community to end gun violence or to prevent it can become a victim of it, then no one, and I mean absolutely no one, is off limits. Well, no one who looks like Justin is off limits. And while we're speaking of the great things that he was doing, I do want to also acknowledge that he just started an organization called Love Our Youth, a community LLC nonprofit. So hopefully you all will be present to help support, and people can support that initiative in the future so there won't be other individuals who fall victim to the same unfortunate plight that Justin did.
Yeah, I just have one question. Has there been any comments from city officials or the Attorney General's office about the murder?
The family have not contacted me. You can tell the family have not contacted me at all.
The question was, has there been any comment from city officials or the Attorney General's office? I know that the MPD Chief of Police did have a press conference, which was soon after the video was released. I haven't heard any comment from the Department of Justice or Attorney General's office yet.
Oh, they heard from the Attorney General office. They have not heard from Mayor Bowser, Chief Smith. No one have given condolences to the family to say, look, we understand this is under investigation. You know, the least you could do is give your condolences and let them know the case is being investigated. They have not heard from not one city official. No city official. And that's disrespectful. And 10 shots. We're not talking about a regular shooting. We're talking about a cop that emptied 10 shots. The least they could do is reach out to the family and get their condolences and let them know they're investigating. Trayon White is the only person who reached out to the family. The only city official who reached out to the family. So let's talk about it. Because he understands. He understands that this city don't keep black marginalized communities safe. Correct. The U.S. Attorney General reached out.
Which is expected because it's an organization that he worked for.
That's his employer. Oh, it's his employer, because that's who he worked for. Yes, those are the only two people. Not even a council person, but Trayon White.
What can the community do in the future, like especially here in South Beach, to stop? Because usually when stuff like this happens, you in a mixed emotion of scared, don't know what to do, and shocked. So like me being from South Beach and me dealing with this like time after time again, what can the city or the community do, or people do to, not have this lead to what happened with justice?
Right. So the question was, what can members of the community in Southeast do to prevent things like this happening? That's a great question. That's exactly what we're trying to do here. We're trying to call for an investigation into the officers so we can try to get the Department of Justice to do something about this pattern of practice of MPD. Person after person who was similarly situated to Justin Robinson in communities that are policed differently than communities in Northwest have fallen victim to police violence, police brutality. It's a really great question of what these people who are in these communities can do, because a lot of times they're at the mercy of police officers that should have been investigated, and that's what we're calling for, because I think we need to continue to just fight back, whether law firms and attorneys try to fight back legally. That's exactly what we're trying to do. So it's been an ongoing fight that you can say has been going on for decades, and the only thing we can do is one case at a time.
Also for community members, right now Hers Wildest Dreams have a petition that you all can sign for the demands of the family, and actually to hold these policemen accountable at bit.ly/Justin with the J 4 capital Justice, a capital J, the number 4, Justin with a capital J. If you go to bit.ly/Justice with a capital J, 4, Justin with a capital J, you can ask the city officials and everybody to hold these cops accountable for the senseless murder and execution of Justin Robinson. In solidarity.
Yes, absolutely. No, not yet. I think I'd say one last question and then we're going to wrap it up if anybody has any last questions. Thank you all for coming out. I really, really appreciate y'all shedding the light on all the injustices that are happening in the District of Columbia, Maryland. And I just want to say to the Robinson family that Justin's death will not be in vain. I have all of the confidence in not only the United States, but the District of Columbia, that they will do what's right here. That they will convene a grand jury, that they will look into these police practices, say we can have some real change. Enough is enough. Justice for Justin.
Justice for Justin.
Thank you all.
Thank you guys.
It's unfortunate that we got. Dante, you want to come again? I'm gonna let him know this is when he's going.